William Hill Perth Festival, the traditional April feature, of course. Andrew Thornton, AP McCoy, rode many winners at Perth. What was the best thing about the Perth Festival?
I really enjoyed going to Perth, Nick. It actually played a huge part in my time as trying to be champion jockey, because those early season meetings were always important. You were trying to get on, sometimes some of the Irish lads would bring horses over to the meetings in Perth, the festivals that were there. So it was very important for me to try and get numbers on the board. And my first ever memory of Perth was I rode a winner there in June 1995 for a man called Billy Rock, who I started off riding for. It was my first ever winner for him. I'd been in England since the August before. I had just become champion conditional. I was just about to start setting off in my my first year as a fully fledged professional, and the beginning of June. At the season, it only started obviously in at that time the season didn't finish the end of May then, so it was only just started. So getting winners on the board early was a big thing, and to ride a winner for him, it was very, very special. I won on her again a year later at the same meeting again, and he played a huge part in my career, and so Perth will always, for that reason, Perth will always have a little special place in my heart, as they say. Small heart that it is, but there's always a little special. There's a little special thing there about Perth because of Taboo Lady.
Honestly, he's a nice person. Talking of Taboo Ladies, it was a good social at Perth as well.
Yeah, it was a good social at Perth. Back in those days, in the early 90s.
Back in those days, I like that. Back in those days, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Look, and Sam Mooreshead, who used to run the course as well.
Great man, yeah.
Brilliant man for getting the owners out, making sure they enjoyed themselves, the jockeys. He put on golf up there for everybody as well. It was a great social, and he made sure it was a fun place to be, and hence why people came from north, south, east, west, Ireland, all over the place.
What was the most important winner you rode there?
I'd say Rylux for Andy Crook. Yeah, he won a handicap up there. Then
won the Scottish National.
He won the Scottish National. Richie McGrath on him.
Beat me, yeah.
And he was given a great ride. He
was obviously
great ride in the Scottish National. But you got horses all over the place. One of my early rides were Silver Haze for Arthur Stevenson. He finished second in a Lincoln. He had some very good horses that came off the flat in the early days. It was an early start to the season.
I can't remember that far back, Andrew.
Get away with it, don't believe it.
That is proper old days, isn't it? Peter Pillar, yellow and blue and all that.
That's exactly, yeah.
Remember that. Martin Pipe, when he was going for multiple trainers championships as well, towards the back end of the season, you'd be up there riding a stack of odds on shots. Often
went to Perth for Martin. Actually, one of my funniest stories that had nothing to do with racing in Perth was my first ever time playing polo was in the middle of the racecourse at Perth. One night after racing, and Paul Carby and I were asked would we play polo, and we didn't realise that you weren't meant to actually charge at one another head to head. You were meant to run along.
It's not jousting,
pretty much, and it was the one thing one thing that I've got in my head. I remember that time in Perth, how Carby and I didn't kill ourselves or someone else trying to take polo. There was people actually with their hands up their head thinking these two lads are not, I wouldn't let them play up polo too often, but it was a great place, great, as Andrew said, great social, really good at looking after people. And again, it's one of those things when you're it's a couple of days, you come there for 2 or 3 days. Not all of the time through the season you get to hang out in the evenings or go and have dinner. Or, you always travel from one meeting to the next. So it was one of those places where you got to socialise with each other a little bit more. Great meeting, and would recommend it for anyone to go.
There you are. That's a pretty ringing endorsement for Perth. The William Hill Perth Festival taking place again this April. Make sure you're there.